Everyone, it is Jeanette the Oracle. I am joining you on this rainy day here in Southern California. I hope that you are doing well. I am jumping on because I actually had a really interesting call with another coach that I've recently networked with, and she's absolutely fascinating. I love the work that she's doing, and hopefully we can collaborate on something in the future. But one of the things that we were discussing in our conversation was about, our goals for the year, what we're looking on, what we're working on, and how we can essentially support one another. Hello, folks. Welcome. And so she was like, what are you working on? And I was like, well, right now I'm currently in enrollment for my small group coaching program, Sovereign. And I really am focused on increasing enrollment for that and really building that new program out and having it be something that I'm known for, just like I was, known for the Lightworker Incubator, essentially. And then I had some other goals that I share with her. But what stood out to me with this conversation is she asked me, who are you trying to serve? Like, who are your typical clients, the women entrepreneurs that come to you? And I love that question because I was immediately able to drop into it and to speak to it, which I'll share in a little bit. But I think that question is so key and so important because often sometimes we can get so kind of distracted by the bigger vision, the bigger goal, that we don't root in the people that we're actually going to be engaging in and what's actually coming up for them. And so I shared with her, I was like, the folks who come through the program are people who are usually going through a major transition in their life and in their business. Just who I am as a soul, as a person. I kind of represent that judgment card energy, like Gabriel with the trumpet, the horn. So I'm usually there when folks are getting the call to step into their assignment, or they're in the middle of that transition of saying yes to their assignment and embodying that, or they're already on their assignment and they're being asked to scale up. But that's usually where folks are coming to me at. And so, what that will look like in their business is, maybe they've been in business for maybe 2 or 3 years or something. They've been making pretty much the same amount of money, and they're now at a place where they're ready to make more money, kind of shift a bit more into being a business owner. They're ready now, mentally, emotionally, and physically, to take on a little bit more responsibility, etc. And so they want to build their business differently. And so they're looking for a new way to do that honors themselves, that honors what they want to do, that honors their call. And so, that's that group. Then I have folks, of course, who are they can sense that they're being called to a bigger growth spurt. And they're like, okay, I know absolutely that I need to be able to do this in such a way that I don't burn myself out, because how I've gotten to where I am in terms of success is not actually going to work in the future. And I need something new and something different. I need to be prepared for what I'm stepping into. Then, of course, there's folks who maybe have been in business and then they stopped because of life circumstances, whether that was, illness stuff. Of course, we had the pandemic, having kids, just all the things. And they're coming back in, and they really need to have their foundation stabilized. They need new tools. They need more full comprehensive tools to deal with we're all dealing with right now. They need that confidence boost. They need community. They need support. And they're really wanting to address those areas that possibly were areas of sabotage before, with how they're showing up for their business, maybe how they're managing their money or whatever, and they want new skills, they want new tactics. So, it kind of runs the gamut, but, again, those folks who are in some period of important transition, they have a deep calling, a deep sense of their assignment, they're deeply committed to their work and impacting people's lives, and they are not interested in doing things the way things have always been done, whether they've been, whether that's in their own behavior or how it's just kind of been in the greater market of the business world, right? And they want something different, and they're at least familiar enough with me or with my work, or interested in what I'm presenting, where it's like, oh, here's new frameworks, here's new methodologies to do this thing that allows you to bring all of yourself to your work without having to essentially exploit your own labor, right? And so I shared that with her, and she was like, that's absolutely fascinating, and I love that. And she was like, I love that because, when I, think of that for myself and do that for myself, I've been focusing on, the quantitative aspects of the people. So maybe the jobs that they have, or the money that they make, or, it's more of the kind of like resume type things. And she says, what I hear you saying is the issues that folks actually care about, the things that are actually going on with them, what they're actually moving through is what you're centered on. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what it is. Because like, just because, two people may be making the same amount of money, say like, 30 grand a year, and maybe in the same industry, does not mean they're actually having the same experiences. They may be dealing with different things. Like somebody may be like, that's actually my max right now and I don't want to go further. Somebody else may be like, this is where I've landed after a massive retraction in my business and I kind of need to rebuild. Another person might be like, I actually need to completely pivot. Like there's so much more that is there in someone's humanity and their experience beyond, again, what the resume is showing. So I say that to say, Sovereign is probably one of the best, I'm going to say this, one of the best small group coaching programs that you're going to find, because it is going to be addressing the whole of you. It is going to be supporting you in your process of shifting from that world of being solopreneur into CEO, but more importantly, it's going to keep you grounded in your divine assignment. It's going to keep you on purpose. It's going to keep you values aligned. And it's going to do so in such a way that you are empowered to take those tools and those principles and apply them at any scale of business that you're in, so that you are really being a good steward of your life, of your calling, of your purpose, and of the people that you are that you're serving. And then if you want to get into a little bit more nitty gritty with who Sovereign is going to be ideal for, it's ideal for folks who have a clear vision and mission. You need to have been in business for at least a year, and the reason why I put that that qualifier is because you need to have data in order to really be able to find out what's actually working in your business in terms of like services or products that you're offering, about your vision and mission. Are you clear about that or not? And a lot of other things. Like, you need the data. You need that to be able to track what's working, what's not working in terms of your marketing, in terms of how you're handling your money. So you need to be in business for at least a year. But beyond that, and having some familiarity with astrology and really a desire to serve, Sovereign is going to be for you. If you have not gone and gotten an MBA, right, paid for a program, whether in person or online, this is going to be that program for you. And it will be something that is feasible. It's going to be something that will help you think differently, so that the strategies that you create actually work for you. And yeah, like, again, most women entrepreneurs, and I've shared some of these stats, and I will definitely continue to share statistics about the financial, health of women-owned businesses. But most women-owned businesses are making $25K a year. A little bit more are making 50, fewer are making 75. very small amounts of folks are hitting six figures and above, so doing 100,000 in gross revenue or above. So a lot of people really could benefit from this work in order to move the needle, because even going from 25K a year approximately to 50K a year is a significant jump. Like, that's a 200% increase in your revenue. That has direct impact on your well-being, your livelihood, and a slew of other things that I'm sure you care about. And so that's really important to me. So I don't want you to be thinking that, this program is for folks who are already like, $1 million people or whatever. Like, that's not it, because that's actually not the reality of what's really happening for women entrepreneurs. Like, we're really not out here balling. I'm not out here balling, which is why I'm also really intentional about the imagery and the brand that I cultivate. I don't use influencer type tactics in presenting myself. I don't present a certain kind of lifestyle, because that's not indicative of what's really true for the amount of money that people really need to be making, right? And that's a whole other discussion. It's like, the idea and the presentation of this idea of wealth and financial abundance, rather than like what's actually going on underneath the surface. Like, is there good stewardship of finances? Is there actually long-term financial strategy? Like, what's really going on? And there's so much kind of stuff around that, and it can feel overwhelming. There can be a lot of shame. There can be a lot of guilt that may be coming up, or that people may have or feel. And the working with me, and especially being in Sovereign, is a very supportive place to give you the tools and provide a safe container for you to start asking these questions, and to sit with things, and to really sit with like what you actually want. Because when you are in that authentic place, you actually will take action. You will truly be motivated, rather than performing what you think is going to make your coach happy or be acceptable in the group. It's very much a like, what's true for me space, right? So that is a little bit about Sovereign. Some logistics about the program in case you have questions. It is a 6-month program. When I originally launched this last year, I was doing it for 3 months. But Spirit gave me the directive to actually make it longer, still covering the same material, but to give a lot more time and space in order to facilitate that training and that transformation and empowerment to be there. So it is a 6-month program, and it's covering what I call 3 pillars divided over the 6 months. And I have developed, and this is my specialty as an oracle, I've developed a proprietary method to help you build a business strategy on your assignment, clarifying your vision, your mission, who you're supposed to be working with, your market orientation, as I call it. I've developed all of that using what I know from experience, best business practices, and methodologies that I've distilled from nature and from various metaphysical tools, to craft something that you can learn, again, to use in your business to build a sustainable business, and apply that at any stage of your business. All right, so I've actually created that for you, so you don't have to wonder and be like, okay, well, how do I do this, or what should I do? It's going to be there for you, so you get trained in that. And there is constant and consistent, direct, practical application. So it's not just, oh, here's this great idea, la-di-da. It's like, well, no, here's this idea. Here's some questions to unpack. Here's some action steps to take. And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to go through the process and apply this in all areas of your business. This is a fully comprehensive program. We're touching everything. So marketing, operations, finances, work-life balance, like all of it is being covered. Okay. So 6 months, we meet twice a month on Saturdays at 10 Pacific Standard Time, usually for about like an hour and a half. depending on the number of people there. It is small group though, so I don't do big things because I like really being able to support folks in their process and really be able to give as much attention to people as they need, because it is a coaching container. It is a safe space. So again, all of you needs to be present. So all of you needs to be supported. And it's difficult to do that when you have large groups. At least that's been my experience, and it's been the experience that I've, the feedback that I gotten from folks who've done other kind of coaching programs. They kind of feel like they get lost in the weeds because it's just, there's so much, and either there's so much kind of like content, or there's so many people that they kind of are able to drift into the background, and it's not really noticed. So that doesn't happen in this space, right? So yeah, we meet twice a month on Saturdays, and all of the material, like I said, is there. You get the training, and we go through the process together of employing and using these spiritual frameworks and methodologies. My business and my services and my programs specifically exist at the intersection of spirituality and business, okay, for this program. But with everything that I do, like spirituality and spiritual tools and techniques, frameworks, methodologies, is integrated into everything. So with Sovereign, that is there, okay? If you've been with me for a while, you know I say this: spirit is the foundation of my life, and as a consequence, spirit is the foundation of everything else that I share. So this marries those two. So if you are someone who is like-spirited and like-hearted to me, specifically, this is definitely a space for you, because that intentionality and that purpose and that craft has been built into what you are learning. And you know, once you finish the program, you maintain access to all the program materials as long as I, you know, have the program alive, which I'm not thinking that I'm going to ever get rid of the program. It's always going to be there. So you get access to that. So you can always go back and reference things. I'm like pretty much always continually update or refining what's in there. So definitely you'll continually have value from the program itself, even after you've completed the process with me. And yeah, with payments, you can either pay in full or you can pay in monthly installments. All that is handled with the platform that I have. So it's really easy, it's really simple. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully that brought you some clarity. If you have some questions about, you know, if Sovereign is really for you, if the time is now. I will say this, and this is something that I've specifically been learning over this past year, Spirit's been bringing to my attention. If you're, you know, at the beginning of a pivot, or like literally in the middle of one, or you can sense that things are going to be shifting for you down the road, you actually want to start the process now in terms of getting support or making the changes, etc., and not wait until you're closer to when you feel something's going to be shifting, or not wait until you are kind of more all together, so to speak. You know, this idea of like, I need to be like perfect and ready before I start a thing. Like, don't do that. And I say that because with business, rather than with our personal life, right? Because we may shift through things pretty quickly, but when it comes to business, because it is truly a relational thing, business only happens because a transaction is happening between human beings, right? Just because you're moving and shifting at a certain kind of pace does not mean the people that you are serving are moving at that pace, or that the capacity that you need, the capabilities that you need, can be implemented as quickly as you think they might. So for example, if you can sense that your business is going to expand, and you eventually want to maybe like a long-term goal is to have maybe a full-time employee or a part-time employee possibly, but you're like, oh, that's a long ways out because right now I can handle everything, and it's good, and I want to like build up more money. Yes, you want to pay attention to your finances and be considering like what's going to be required to have that employee. However, you actually do need to start the process now. Like if you think you're going to need somebody a year from now potentially, or even like maybe in 9 months depending on how business grows, you need to start now, right? And that's because like there's so much that's going to go into it, and you got to build out different SOPs, your standard operating procedures. You've got to figure out, what kind of compensation structure you want to have. You got to think about, your onboarding process, your HR stuff. Like there's so many things to consider. And that's like a really, very specific thing. Most folks who are under 100K are not going to be considering this because you don't have enough funds to hire somebody. At the most, you're going to be doing contract work, right? You'll be hiring contractors, but you're not going to have employees. But that's an example of like, oh, this thing that you're going to need, in your mind, you may be like, oh, when I get closer to that and I start to get stretched thin, that's when I will do the work to prepare for that person, etc. And what I'm telling you, what I've learned and also what I've seen and what I've been coached on, is you actually want to start much sooner, because the amount of time it's actually going to take to shift things, both in you, both operationally in the business, both in the marketing message, like whatever it is whatever goal that you have on, or whatever is happening in your business, it's actually going to take a lot longer. So if you find yourself in a place right now, in particular in your business, where you're like, God, I feel like I'm starting over, I'm having to like rebrand, I'm having to pivot, or I'm just, all that kind of stuff. And, once I get up and running, like then I'll whatever, right? This is actually the time to get the support, because that's actually going to set you up to receive or to step into or to embody what you can already sense is possible and coming down the road, and be able to handle it and maintain it rather than having it be a fluke. So keep that in mind, not only as you're considering this program, but with anything related to growth or pivots or transitions, not only in your life, but specifically in business. Extend the time that you think is actually going to take. If you really want to have deep transformational change and transformation that's going to truly be with you for the long haul and help you build a sustainable business, start sooner. Give yourself a longer runway, if you will, for takeoff, rather than creating tension and stress and anxiety during like a crunch time, some like arbitrary time of when you think you're supposed to be perfect with something or have something all together, or what have you. Like, give yourself the time, create the space, right? That would be my recommendation. But let me see if anybody has any questions about Sovereign. If you do, put it in the chat and I will answer. Then of course, if you're watching the recording, just put that in the comments below, or message me, of course, and I can answer any questions. When you submit your application on the website, there is an option to set up a Zoom call, a free 10-minute call, to ask some questions that you may have if what I've provided on the website does not answer them. But I've tried to be pretty thorough about program details, frequently asked questions and stuff like that on the site. So if you go to my website, you can either check the link in my bio or just go to innersunalchemy.com. Again, innersunalchemy.com. Click on programs. The programs tab, you'll see I think the tab is called Group Program. You'll see a drop down for Sovereign, and the information for the program is there. Enrollment is open through April 1st. Okay, that's the last day to apply. So if you are wanting to get in for this cohort, join at that time. I will only be doing one more cohort. I haven't decided when it's going to be. I'm leaning though towards a summer start time so that we can end at the end of the year. But I'll sit with Spirit on that and get clarity with that, assuming I also have time as well too, because I'm working on some things. So hopefully this won't be the last or the only round that I do this year. But anyway, yeah, so go there, go to my website, click the link in bio, or just go directly to the website, InnerSynAlchemy.com. Check out the group program and you'll see Sovereign there. Hit apply. Last day to enroll, like I said, is April 1st, and you have the option to set up a 10-minute call with me if you have some more questions, some concerns, or what have you. I'm here. I'm an open book. I will be very clear and direct with you about what is provided, what is not provided, what makes this program different from what you might have done before. And again, if you've been following me for a while or you're familiar somewhat with my work, you know I'm about doing work. I'm not here just for being up in spirit and up in the clouds. I am about that integrated into our lives in a practical way. That's what I do. And I really am about empowering people to do that and to ultimately not need me. Like, that's actually the goal. So yeah, let's talk, ask questions. I'm an open book. DMs are open if you're watching on Instagram. Comment below if you don't feel comfortable doing that. Fill out an application. I would really love to see you there. And if anything that I said resonated with you about the folks that tend to come to me and work with me, in particular in this program, what I've been seeing, let that be the affirmation to you of this being the answer to the need and the desire that your soul has had to help you kind of live out a fuller expression of your divine assignment, because that's what we're about over here. All right, so I don't see any questions. All good. You know how to get in contact. I love you all. Stay blessed up. Keep your mind up, right? Keep your heart up. Stay light. Stay focused. Stay committed. And God willing, I will see you next time.